Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zephyr. Like the wind I go, and like a man I come. And today I have come to bring a guide for a game called Wartales. This is a beginner's guide to Wartales, with the goal of letting you have a better understanding of the game, a better head start, and how to deal with your finance and your food trouble. A small disclaimer. The video of this guide is based on Wartales version 1.12527, which was released on December 17, 2021. So if you are watching this video after several major updates, this guide may or may not be obsolete. But I will do my best to explain the core components of the game so that this video won't be 100% obsolete should you be watching this video far from the time of this recording. And should I still retain an interest in Wartales after the game have come out of early access? I will consider making a new beginner's guide to Wartale at that point in time. Now, let's start. Your companions are apprentice friends looking for an adventure, and you start off with additional 30 influence, negative 30 companion experience, along with a starting companion of a swordsman, archer, ranger, and a brute. Influence are points that you can use to influence certain outcomes in the game, such as quest and mercenary contract. And companions experience are EXP points that your companions need to level up. The swordsman can progress to be either a main DPS or a support offhand tank companion. The archer can progress to be a offhand DPS or a crowd controller. The ranger can progress to be a glass cannon burst DPS. And the brute can progress to be a tank DPS. The starting bonus of 30 influence looks good, but you can easily get the 30 influence by fighting and winning 2 to 3 battles. And by doing so, you can easily offset the negative 30 companion experience. And you would need at least 50 influence at minimum before you can do anything with the influence. This isn't the best starting option for you to pick, neither it is the worst. For the entirely new players, I don't recommend getting this at the start, and it is more for players that have put a few hours in the list. Escorting merchants who lost their employer. You will get 150 crowns and a -1 medicine along with a starting companion of a swordsman, a warrior, a spearman, and a brute. The swordsman can progress to be either a main DPS or a support offhand tank companion. The spearman can progress to be a DOT DPS or a crowd controller, and the brute can progress to be a tank DPS. Crowns are currency in the game which you need to purchase raw materials, food, weapons, recruits, companion, and so forth. And medicine are needed to heal your companions after a fight should they get injured beyond 50% of their health. Additional 150 crowns are great as that allows you to buy food and medicine. As a new player, the extra crowns will serve as a lifeline for you. The -1 medicine can easily be offset by the additional 150 crowns, as in normal difficulty, a single vial of medicine costs around 40 crowns, and you start off with a base of 100 crowns. This is the best starting option for everyone, including new players. Deserters fleeing an abusive captain, you will get 50 experience and 30 suspicion along with a swordsman, an archer, and a ranger, and a brute. The swordsman can progress to be either a main DPS or a support offhand tank. The archer can progress to be a offhand DPS or a crowd controller. The ranger can progress to be a burst DPS. And the brute can progress to be a tank DPS. Suspicion is a wanted bar, and when the bar is filled to 100, you are being hunted down by the patrols, and any roaming patrol in the vicinity will immediately chase after you like a tax collector when they spotted you. The +30 in the suspicion bar is nothing to be afraid of as long as you don't engage in a conversation with the authorities, and that suspicion bar will go down in time gradually. This isn't the best starting option for you to pick, neither it is the worst. For the entirely new players, I don't recommend getting this at the start, and it is more for players that have put a few hours in at least. Young farmers looking for a better life will give you 10 additional bread and -50 crowns, along with a starting companion of a brute, 2 spearmen, and an archer. The brute can progress to be a tank DPS, the spearman can progress to be a DOT DPS, or a crowd controller, and the archer can progress to be a offhand DPS or a crowd controller as well. The additional of 10 bread is good as it gives you additional 2 days worth of food, but the total cost of the 10 bread is cheaper than 50 crowns, so it doesn't offset the negative 50 crown less at the start due to its price. Only pick this if you want to make your start harder. Bandits looking to escape the guard give you 100 crowns and a plus 65 suspicion along with a starting companion of a brute, 2 ranger and an archer. The brute can progress to be a tank DPS, the ranger can progress to be a glass cannon DPS, and the archer can progress to be a offhand DPS or a crowd controller. The additional 100 crowns is good, but the 65 suspicion is really bad for new players. If you don't know how to avoid or able to get away from the patrols, you will definitely have an incredible hard time fighting the patrols when you get caught, as the patrols are far better equipped than you at the start. I highly suggest all new players to avoid this option unless you have a death wish. Among all the 5 options, I highly recommend new players to pick the man escorting merchants who lost their employer for all new players, and that you should not take bandit looking to escape the guard. Your companions are used to long walks. It reduces the speed at which the troops' fatigue stacks by 10%. This means you will spend 10% more time walking on the world map, and 10% less time spending on resting. In the long run, the amount of money you spend on food is lower than average, but from the middle stage of the game onwards, it's pretty easy to earn money, and the cost of food spending for travel is entirely negligible. This bonus is not amazing, but it's not horrible either. Your companions are cunning fighters. Experience gain in combat increased by 10%. The additional 10% increase in experience allows your companion to level up faster, which is obviously a good thing. But once you have reached the level cap, this boon will become redundant at that point in time. Another downside to this is that if you are not able to concurrently level up your gear along with your companion level, you will be fighting opponents that are similar or higher level than you while you yourself are stuck to using lower level gear. You will be having a hard time battling should that happen. This is a double-edged sword. I cannot recommend new players getting this, only for the more experienced players. Your companions show incredible resilience. Constitution increased by 10%. Your companion will have 10% more health. It is as simple as that. The more constitution you have, the more benefit you will get from this bonus. This goes extremely well with your tank builds and every other companions in your mercenary company. I can recommend new players getting this. Your companions are excellent at slap games. Critical damage increased by 10%. It is easier to increase your companion critical rate than critical damage. So this is a really good option, but only if you know what you are doing, and I won't give more details on this video. To the veterans that are in the know, this is an amazing bonus to have, but for everyone else, it is still a good boon for you to get. Your companions could sell anything to anyone. Sale price of a stolen item to a fence increased by 10%. I won't recommend new players to get this bonus, as to fully benefit from this, you need to constantly commit robbery, and even then, you need to know where to sell these stolen goods to. Unless you want to walk the path of crime and have a permanent 5-star on your head, best you avoid taking this bonus. This bonus is for veterans that wants to roleplay and to take their gameplay to the next level. Among all the 5 options, I highly recommend new players to pick the show incredible resilience, and that you should not take the could sell anything to anyone. But for the veteran players, I recommend getting the excellent at slap games. If they had a flaw, it would be a somewhat meek appearance. Each companion carrying capacity decreased by 1 kg. It is a flat reduction of the maximum amount of weight any individual can carry, which is by 1. This debuff can be easily offset by purchasing a donkey, which have a over 30 kg of maximum carrying capacity. This is the best debuff to take for new players and everyone else as well. If they had a flaw, it would be eternal dissatisfaction. Reduces the group's happiness by 1. Happiness are your mercenary company moral value. When it's in the negative, there is a chance that your companion will leave the company, and when it's in the positive, you will produce influence each time you rest. New players can also get this debuff, but I suggest you play Wartales for a few hours first to get an understanding of how the happiness mechanic works in this game. If they had a flaw, it would be an uncommon bout of bad luck. Critical luck reduced by 3%. This is a flat permanent reduction of your base critical hit. At level 1, the base critical hit value of every companion is 3%. That is if you do not include those with special traits. So if you pick this debuff, at the start, none of your companion can score a critical hit. Though you can increase your critical hit chance by adding points to a certain stats, you will still have less than 3% critical hit chance at the end of the day. This is not the worst or best debuff for you to take. If they had a flaw, it would be a very hard time getting up. Danger during rest increased by 10%. So whenever you are resting on the world map, there's a flat 10% chance that a random enemy will pop out and ambush your company. This is a good debuff to get if you want to level up your companion fast and get lots of loot easily. The downside to this is that you cannot avoid the battle when you are ambushed. Though there is an item you can get to offset this debuff, it is not something you can get your hands on early on. Not recommended for new players, only for veterans that love a challenge. If they had a flaw, it would be a greediness far more developed than others. Wages paid to companion increased by 1. Initially, this debuff seems like a flat increase of wages by 1, and that is true only at level 1. But whenever your companion level up, the amount of wages you need to pay also increase. The problem is, the increase of wages is not by a flat amount but by a percentage of your previous paid wages. So the higher the level your companion is, the more wages you need to pay than normal in the long run as compared to those that do not take this debuff. This is the worst debuff for new players to take. Among all the 5 options, I highly recommend new players to pick a somewhat mixed appearance and avoid picking a greediness far more developed than others. For the first time players, you will only see Tilton County as your starting region. But for those that manage to go to other regions, you will see other regions such as County of Arthurs and Veracruz Province. I won't be going through what are the specialty and perks of each and every region in this video, as I have no doubt that there will be more options available along the way. So, I may consider making a separate video after the game gets an official release, as I'm sure by then we can see all of the options available. Because of that, we are going to stick to the default option for every new player, which is Tilton County. Now for the combat difficulty, when you set the difficulty to normal, all or if not, most of your fights will end up with your enemy numbers and level be the same as your company. So if you have 11 companions in your company with an average level of 5, you will be fighting against 11 enemies that are level 5 as well. But when you set the difficulty to hard, you will be outnumbered and outleveled in all of your fight. So if you have 11 companions in your company with an average level of 5, you will be fighting against 13 to 14 enemies that are at level 6. Simulation difficulty not only affects companions' tiredness, hunger and wages, but also the economy of the world. Let's say if you want to stay at the tavern for a night and it costs you 20 crown on normal, it will cost you 25 crown on hard. Completing a mercenary contract on normal will reward you with 100 crown. Completing the same quest on hard will reward you with 80 crown. Now for the class customization, I won't be delving too much into the class progression in this video, as I will be talking about them in another video instead, and I won't talk about the different weapon type either. What you need to know is that some of the class can change their starting equipment at the start. So if you need a tank, go grab a guy that can equip a shield instead. At the start, if you are building a tank, you want it to have the Taunt utility skill. This skill grows along with your character. The higher your stats, the more damage this skill does, and generally, this skill will kill most of your enemies that currently have less than 50% of their max HP. For support, you want to take first aid, and I highly recommend you to have at least one companion that have the first aid utility skill. The worst combat debuff to get in the middle of the fight is Bleed, which does a flat 20% damage to your health per turn, and the only way to remove the Bleed debuff is by first aid. That means in 5 turns, your companion will drop dead if you don't heal him. The run utility looks good, but if you are able to position your companion appropriately, you will hardly use it. And if you have an archer, the aim utility is a must-have skill as it doubles your shooting range. I won't be showing a new adventure, but load up an old adventure of mine for the sake of convenience in this guide. When you start off at Tiltland County, you will spawn over here. So the first thing you want to do is to find the prison, and the prison can be located on the right side of the map beside a big lake, which is right over here. So go down this hill and take the road, go to the right. And when you see the fog, go towards the left. Just keep on following the road until you reach the prison. When you reach the prison, talk to this NPC over here and buy this item called chains. Chains allow you to capture people on the field and make them your prisoner of war. And once you have them, you can sell the prisoner to the jail guards. And because of that, you can easily earn money. So if you have financial problem, buy some chains, take part in a fight of two, capture 1 or 2 prisoners and sell them to the prison guard for easy money. And the amount of money you can get depends on the level. So if you are able to capture a level 5 character, you can sell them for 130 crowns on hard mode. When you reach the town, go to the market and check out what's the staple food in the region. Once you have known what is the staple food in the region, and in the case of Ditran, the staple food source is mutton, press G and go to the cooking pot tab and learn the medium rare mutton recipe. Cooked food provides more food as compared to its ingredient. You only need to learn one of the simple recipe, and learning any more would be a waste of knowledge point. That is it for my beginner's guide to Wartales. I hope this guide of mine solved your financial and food problem, along with helping you making a better starting option. If you'd like to see more guide on Wartales, feel free to subscribe to my channel. My name is Zephyr, like the wind I go and like the man I come, and now it is time for me to go. Thank you for watching all the way till the end, and if you enjoyed the video, do subscribe and leave behind a comment down below, as I would like to hear your thoughts about the video. Stay safe, have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you in the next video. See ya!